Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we have big news coming out of the SEC. So the SEC's head of crypto asset and cyber unit departs after 9 years. So the name of this person is David Hirsch, and he was there for 9 years, as mentioned, and he was part of the Division of Enforcement. This is a massive loss for Gary Gensler and the SEC, given all the enforcement actions that have been ramped up over the past couple years from Gary Gensler. And we've been seeing a lot of turnover recently at the SEC, people just leaving. Obviously, the SEC got sanctioned in the debt box case for lying to the courts, and that forced them to close their Salt Lake City office. And I think if you're working at the SEC, you see the writing on the wall. Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren are on the wrong side of history. They're losing. They're losing in the courts, in the public opinion, and now even in the polls and elections, because we've seen Democrats turn on Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler, and it's not looking good for the SEC right now, taking massive losses in the courts. So David did publish on his LinkedIn profile that he's departing from the SEC. He's going to spend some time with family. I was actually messaging him, trying to get him on the podcast, and we're going to try to set up something later this summer because he's going to take some time to take care of family items. So I'll try to get you his perspective on what happened at the SEC. I'm in works to get that interview going. But I think a lot of people, like I said, at the SEC are going to jump ship because Gary Gensler has turned the SEC political. There is no longer about protecting investors. And once again, it's because Gensler is controlled by Elizabeth Warren, who's controlled by the banking incumbents. We've talked a lot about this. So big loss here for Gary Gensler and the SEC. Now, regarding crypto and the elections and politics, Stanford Crypto highlighted today that they are endorsing 18 more candidates. And this includes different representatives and members of Congress. It includes both Republicans and Democrats. And Paul Grewal, chief legal officer at Coinbase, weighed in on this news, saying a few thousand votes in a handful of states decided the last presidential election. Do you really want your preferred candidate to stand against 52 million Americans who have owned a digital asset and greater than 1 million Americans who have declared this intent around digital assets this time around? So crypto is a force to be reckoned with. Donald Trump obviously has put a stake in the ground, drawn that line saying, I'm the pro-crypto candidate here. Vote for me. Gensler hates it. Warren wants to take away your right to self-custody. Biden doesn't know what's happening, right? These are things Donald Trump has come out and said. And as we've seen, many Democrats in the House and Senate are waking up to this saying, well, yeah, we're not going to die on this hill. We're not going to align ourselves with Elizabeth Warren. And they voted to get FIT 21 passed in the House. They voted to repeal SOB 121 in the House and Senate. And as reported yesterday, Democrat Ro Khanna is hosting a crypto roundtable where he's going to have the Biden administration and Mark Cuban come together in early July to figure this all out. And folks, there's a lot of capital being raised by the crypto industry now. So once again, it's a force to be reckoned with. And don't be surprised if crypto comes up in the presidential debates and even Biden may be doing a 180 because of the pressure that's mounting from Donald Trump, plus the SEC losing in courts and being a public embarrassment. Gensler is an embarrassment for sure. And then, many young voters who own crypto are going to be swayed the other way. Typically, young voters vote Democrat, and the recent studies and surveys show Democrats are losing the younger vote. And as I've stated before, if you start attacking crypto, an asset they're investing, you're going to continue to lose more of that vote. So things are not looking good for the SEC, for Democrats, and so forth if they don't fix these things. And in yesterday's podcast, guys, I told you about an opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal, which was titled "The Crypto Could Stave Off a U.S. Debt Crisis." And one of the things I noticed in the digital article published online is that Speaker Ryan, former House Speaker Paul Ryan, weighed in. And let me just give you a quote here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but here's a small quote. If other countries are successful at bolstering their currencies, influence while dumping treasury debt, the U.S. will need to find new ways to make a dollar more attractive. Dollar-backed stablecoins are one answer. It's amazing how far crypto has come and the dialogue that's happening now around crypto, whether it's in TradFi or politics or the future of the US dollar and much more. All right, moving ahead, guys, we got some big Bitcoin ETF news. So Australia's largest stock exchange, ASX, approves its first Bitcoin ETF. So we're seeing the global race towards ETFs, and we've often talked about game theory. Please go study that, and you'll see a lot of these principles are playing out here. I've often talked about Metcalfe's laws as well, network effects as it relates to cryptocurrency and blockchains. And we saw that after the United States approved the spot Bitcoin ETF, then Hong Kong, then London, and Australia is listing now. Thailand also launched Bitcoin spot ETF. So globally, we're seeing on-ramps being built to come into this asset class. And as I've stated many times, it starts with Bitcoin. It will then move to Ethereum, and then you'll see other altcoin spot ETFs. It's going to come for XRP, Solana, Cardano, and so forth. So very bullish news here. We also got news that Germany's largest European telecom, Deutsche Telekom, will start mining Bitcoin. That's big news. Not only are we seeing Bitcoin ETFs, we have corporations putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and many are looking to mine Bitcoin. So I hope you see the direction this is heading in. It's incredible. Folks, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Uphold, where you can easily buy Bitcoin and altcoins. Uphold has 260 plus cryptocurrencies. I've been using Uphold since 2018. I've interviewed the CEO, CFO, many folks, so I can vouch for this platform. Folks, they also are fully reserved. They don't commingle or lend out your funds. They have transparency reports. And you can also trade precious metals on this platform, such as gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. They're available in over 150 countries. So if you'd like to learn more about Uphold, check out the link in the description. Now, we got some big news coming out of Tether today. And I remember interviewing Paolo Arduino, I think it was a couple months ago, where he talked about they were working on a tokenized gold type of asset. And here they announced today aUSDT, the first tethered asset just launched. aUSDT is a synthetic dollar over collateralized by XAUT, which is gold. So it's essentially Tether Gold. Paolo says Alloy by Tether is an open platform that allows to create collateralized synthetic digital assets and will soon be part of the new Tether Digital Assets tokenization platform launching later this year. Big news. Tokenization is the future, and Tether has been doing this for a long time with their stablecoin USDT. Now they're going to be doing a lot more with, it looks like metals and gold and so forth. So once again, a new product is called Alloy by Tether, and they're minting this synthetic dollar collateralized by gold. So this is the future, folks, and they're not going to be the only ones. There's going to be other folks who are going to be building and launching these types of products. Here's another example. FalconX launches support for USTB collateralized trades as tokenized US government securities gain round. So the TLDR here is FalconX rolled out support for USTB collateral for trading on June 11th. A representative of the crypto prime brokerage told the block, tokenized government securities have become more popular with some investors over the past year, 21.co data shows. So folks, it's no secret that, a lot of people want the US dollar. It is the world's reserve currency, and many want US treasuries. And obviously, if there's that type of demand, if you tokenize it, it opens up a whole lot of opportunities for trading, secondary, tertiary markets, and much more. So it makes sense that these things are coming. And I remember actually Paolo Arduino, CEO of Tether, who mentioned they tried to launch a digital euro, and unfortunately there wasn't that much demand. People want US dollars. And until that changes, let's say the United States loses this reserve currency status, then maybe things will change. But right now people want US backed stable coins and much more. So very interesting what's being built here. Now, moving ahead, Flare, they have launched their demo for the F assets for XRP. So as you guys know, Flare allows you to create F assets, which enables smart contracts and DeFi capabilities. I recently interviewed Hugo Filion, co-founder of Flare, and we talked a lot about this. So they've opened up the demo. Obviously, it's not full production yet. It's going to move to their test net, then go to production and all that. So there's a process to this, but you can start demoing the process. And I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to test it out for XRP, Bitcoin, and Dogecoin. Now they just have XRP open, but eventually they will have Bitcoin and Doge. And I'll see what we can do here and earn and so forth. And I'll get back to you guys and let you know what's the process. But just FYI, and I'm a Flare token holder. I'm delegating. I'm earning my rewards. So I'm bullish on this project, and I think it's going to do well. And I can't wait to try out some of the features here with FAssets and see what we can earn, folks. All right, moving ahead, guys, we get some updates around the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. The saga continues, and boy, I'm hoping this thing wraps up sometime soon. It's one of the legacy cases that still needs to be wrapped up, even though Ripple took a big victory where XRP was declared intrinsically not a security. So the headline reads, SEC shoots down Ripple's argument for a lower penalty. The SEC argued Ripple's proposed lower civil penalty wouldn't be enough, and there's no comparison to its settlement with Terraform Labs. So the SEC wants like $2 billion. Ripple's like, hell no, we're not giving you $2 billion, $2 billion, excuse me. There was no fraud. There's no victims here. The only victims that happened to lose money was because of the SEC's lawsuit, which in the bull market dropped the market cap by billions, right, guys? So it's pathetic what the SEC is doing. And Ripple, I think they jumped on the opportunity saying, hey, you settled with Terraform for X amount of money and you want $2 billion from us, and we didn't like scam the market or anything. We didn't have any type of collapse like Terraform and so forth, which makes sense. And Ripple's chief legal officer, Stuart Allarati, he said, the SEC is raging. Ripple defended itself, agreeing to nothing. The court gave clarity that XRP is not a security. There are no victims to compensate. And worst of all, for the SEC, Ripple is thriving. But at least SEC seems to have abandoned its absurd demand for $2 billion. Gary Gensler, he's desperate. What a clown. But look, the SEC is not in the driver's seat here. Ripple is. And it's not just the Ripple case, but just overall, the SEC continues to lose in court. Now, guys, I want to wrap it up here by just highlighting some funding news. A lot of capital continues to come into the market. The major headline is Paradigm's new third fund, which raised $850 million to go into the market. I covered this news last week, so I'm not going to reiterate all the details there, but that's massive, right? So let me give you some of the other notable fundraising. So Nuffle Labs, a spinoff of the Near Foundation, raised $13 million in a mix of strategic grant from Near and an investment led by Electric Capital. I'll be interviewing the folks at Electric Capital soon, by the way. Ava Protocol announced it raised $10 million in seed funding across 2 rounds of $5.5 million and $4.5 million, respectively. Squad Labs raised $10 million in a Series A led by Electric Capital and participation from Coinbase Ventures and Rockaway X. Manta Network unveiled a $50 million eco fund. So, folks, it's important to pay attention to these funding news because many of these may go into tokens that you hold and even companies that are building the infrastructure of the market. So it gives you a pulse on what's happening. Are people bullish? What are they investing in? What is being built? And I follow this news in addition to the charts, in addition to the macro factors. You guys know I look at the market holistically, and that's what I try to share here on this podcast. So we are more informed, better educated investors. We can't just look at charts. We got to look at what is happening overall, even the politics and regulations and so forth, right? All these things you have to look at. So bullish news, my friends. I'm excited. I know the market's a bit, volatile right now. As I covered in yesterday's podcast, we got to be patient. The DXY is going to start collapsing pretty soon. Bitcoin will start rallying, altcoins and so forth, and we'll see some higher highs. Guys, don't forget to grab a copy of my book, Rethinking Crypto. Grab a copy to support the podcast. If you bought a copy already, please leave a rating and review on Amazon. And guys, grab a couple copies for your friends and family who want to learn about crypto. The book gives crypto's past, present, and future, provides some investing advice and much more. It's really helpful for people who want to learn about what's going on. Why the ETF race? Why the SEC attack? What does tokenization look like? What the hell happened with FTX and why that is not crypto. It's not the ethos of crypto. The book breaks down all of these things. So guys, let me know what you think about the news. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll talk to you all later.